What's up, guys? So we are introducing a new tax, and I believe it has to be done throughout the entire world, and a lot of countries have to hop on board. It is very stringent and hyper focused on institutions around colleges and universities, and it's called the Graduate Recall Program. Now, what this is basically it's a futuristic outlook on life, and most jobs we know will be either changed or altered, or removed completely from society due to AI. Artificial intelligence can be taking these jobs, and we see in the corporate world that there's mass layoffs. It's hard to get a job. It's this, it's that. The industry is changing. The structure is changing. A lot of jobs just aren't really needed, and a lot of people are having outdated skills, right? So I said in a tweet earlier today that we should introduce a new tax. So for every, let's say for example, every 3 jobs that's reduced in the AI world for a company, one of those job salaries have to be introduced to a pool, a taxation pool, and just one. It's just one time, but it could be a recurring thing for a few years because this is a transition period. I know. If you're very capitalistic and free will thinking entrepreneur, you're gonna hate me, but just bear with me and hear me out. So we collect. Let's say, for example, right, the salary is $50,000 each, and we this company's cut off 3 jobs to AI, right? So we collect $50,000 from this company, and what we ensure for them is that we're going to reprogram or reskill their workforce. So the people that got laid off with their degrees or whatever it is, they're going to go back to the university to which they got the degree and enter a graduate recall program, which is basically their courses on steroids in the new future. They're going to learn how to prompt, how to talk to AI, how to incorporate AI into their work, how to be more fast paced, how to be more productive. They're going to be more competitive, right? So that's one way to fund the tax. The second thing is fines for institutions like colleges, universities, whatever it is, maybe even high schools, who are teaching outdated things, things that are no longer needed and seen as a viable profession. We grow up in this society. Most people unknowingly we chase our passion and our dreams. Passions don't pay the bills. Dreams don't pay the bills. So I'm telling you, people, our schools are setting us up for failure. A lot of people are taking ridiculous courses in university. Even me, bro. Even me. When I was in university for an economics degree, we had electives, and I'm like, why do we have electives? It's just ridiculous to be honest. But it produces like a less strain on the student, right? I took a course about dinosaurs. I took a course about music, while my major was economics. I learned a little bit of things from those courses, but for the most part, it was a money grab, and I enjoyed it because I got it boosted up my GPA. You know, my GPA going up, so I enjoyed it. It was worth it. But guys, as a productive society, we're falling behind massively, massively. And to speak right, I'm in Toronto, York University. My university went on strike for almost 2 years, like 1.5 years, and I was on strike during that 1.5 years, and or like 8 months, 8 months, 1.5 years, and I had no classes, no school, no nothing. And by the time I came back to school, because the strikes were so long at university, because professors and teaching assistants wanted more money, they wanted to cost of inflation and all that stuff, whatever it is, um, they messed up my education. And I ended up going to a math class in the next year, and they said, "Wow, you guys didn't learn what you were supposed to learn because there was a strike. So we're just not gonna teach that much of it, or we're gonna speed run it, and hopefully you can catch up." So it's either very rushed or we missed out on crucial information. Now, here's the other thing. By the time I got a career job in my field, right, I worked at Royal Bank of Canada, I was not using my degree at all. We have a huge human resources problem around the world. Education is not pairing up with the industries, the private industries. That like the knowledge is there to be used, but it's just not being paired up. It's just not. It's not. It's just not there. So what I'm seeing is that universities are being adequately held as a threshold for the requirement to see if you can fulfill that role. If you can graduate with a degree in economics, hey man, you're ahead of everyone else. You're with the banking industry, the financial industry. We'll take you in. You have the mindset, and I believe that's what universities and colleges are selling. They're selling the mindset of a banker, of a person in economics or whatever it is, in the finances industry. They sell that mindset, and then when you get to work, You're either put into a role where it's repetitive tasks, you're put into a role where there's lack of critical thinking, you're put into a role where there's a corporate ladder, and you have to spend years and years at this bank or at this institution just to get a promotion, right? So what I did personally at my workplace, because I'm a bit of an overachiever, I worked on side projects on the side and I pitched them to people that were higher positions, like the vice president of my department, vice president of fraud. You know what I mean? Now, unfortunately, I got sick. I got mentally ill. I got diagnosed with schizophrenia and all that stuff. So I had to. I'm placed on long-term disability now. But I want you guys to go out there and try. All right. Even as a disabled man, I still hold my country, Canada, to a certain threshold, to a certain level. We're one of the best countries in the world, right? And I want that to be, to be known, right? The people of Canada make Canada great. So I was also thinking, so that's one way to earn money from the taxation of companies. It could be on a yearly basis or whatever basis. They are going to be, saving a shit ton of money. One person nowadays does the job of like 4 to 5 people in computer science. It's a bit ridiculous, but that's the power of AI. So they are reducing their workforce, and that's creating less jobs, and it's putting more strain on the government organizations such as unemployment insurance and social security and whatever it is you have going on in your countries. Ridiculous, ridiculous. So I also believe that we should have online schooling and certifications for free in terms of AI, in terms of what's popular right now, in terms of whatever it is that we need to boost people's industry changes. Now, some people have degrees, whether it's computer science, whatever it is, and these jobs will be completely irrelevant in the far, far, far future, unless you're like a god at computer science. But most people are not getting hired. Most people, if you don't have internships and all that crazy ass shit, you're not getting hired. So I am proposing for us to also pay these companies back if they take interns. Now they're not going to get a crazy amount of money, but the government is going to have a program similar to how we pay temporary foreign workers a bit of money from the government just for them to be hired. We're going to have the same thing, but with internships and high school graduates and university graduates. All right, so there's a lot of things to talk about. I believe that there should also be an app that can judge whether your degree was worth it, right? So it's going to be called "Is It Worth It?" It'll have your university degree, what job you got, whatever it is. It's going to be a trust-based app, and we're going to have your ID and all that stuff, all that good stuff. But basically, right? So when you go to a university, it comes with prestige, and there's some universities like Ryerson, which have like the #1 business school in Canada, or UFT, or whatever it is, right? And when you apply to a job and someone sees Ryerson and it says MBA or PhD or whatever it is, and you're just like, oh my god, wow, I'm gonna hire this dude. He's really smart. You know what I mean? If you come from a low prestige school, like a random college or community college, whatever it is, the odds of you getting hired are very slim. They're still there, but they're very slim. So I want that to be known worldwide. If these universities are worth it for international students and for normal students that just live here, their prestige is falling off the map. I'm not gonna lie. It took me 2 years to graduate with a degree from York University. Now, I could have went to Ryerson, but I was a biomedical and not engineer, biomedical science, bioscience, whatever it's called. That was my degree in the first place, and then I switched to economics because I just had no motivation in science. It was very boring. It's all textbook shit. It's all very boring. I like money, so I got motivated by money and business. So I switched my degree, but it took me 2 years to get a job. The prestige of York University just isn't really there. You're not really standing out in front of everyone, and I wish on my degree on my resume, I can put got a $24,000 scholarship, was gifted, did all of this stuff, blah 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 blah. But bro, they don't really accept like they don't really look into that shit. They just want to know if you graduated from the program. And your confidence matters. The way that you articulate yourself matters in interviews. And I'm pretty sure these companies have also stringent tests for you to do on interviews. So there's a lot of factors that come into this stuff, right? So we can build on this. This is something to talk about, something to think about. And I believe the faster that we act on this, the better that is for taxation purposes. And we could do a retroactive tax. It is what it is. But yeah, 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 yeah. We can do great things. But I also want to say this, right? So companies are being too sly with it. They're getting all this AI, these AI agents, AI this, AI that. Um, Loss of quality of life for jobs, benefits, and perks, and all that stuff. Because AI is replacing all this stuff. We have to hold companies to a standard. So we're gonna have to have legislative reform as to what companies should be allowed to work in Canada and or USA or wherever. And I'm talking parental leave, maternity leave mandatory, vacation time mandatory, a whole bunch of stuff mandatory. And we know across the board, keeping a salary the same but working 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week makes them more productive worker and they get shit done. They get more stuff done and they're more happier. Less workplace suicide, less workplace incidents, less workplace fighting, infighting and arguing, more collectiveness, more productivity. We know these statistics are out there. We know these studies are out there. So why aren't we applying them? Because we're scared to make that change. We're scared to make that change. It is what it is. We had a work from home program. A lot of people were happy during COVID. A lot of people worked from home. I was working from home too. I was so happy and super productive. I was watching TV in the background and I was working my job at the same time. It's a good time for jobs that have so much downtime. You know what I mean? Uh, I was excelling. I was doing the work of like 3 to 4 people, and I was popping the fuck off. And that's without AI. I'm just a super hard worker. I wake up every day thinking about how to get rich, how to make money, and it's sort of sad. I'm not gonna lie, cause like I watched a video and it's like you should think about how to be a better human being instead of always going for self improvement or whether it's wealth or money or clout or followers or whatever it is. I agree, I agree, but there are things that I like, and I like being productive. I like having a legacy. I like being known. I like a lot of good stuff in the world. So this is a little bit of a rant that I went on. You can read about it on Twitter. You can go to my Twitter, Zhoxius, Zhoxius, and you can retweet this. I'll also be posting this video on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, wherever, right, and on Reddit. So I hope governments get acting quickly because they're already a little bit behind, right? Microsoft's already laying off people, gaming industry is laying off people, tech companies are laying off people, whole bunch of stuff going on. All right, thank you guys.